Greetings, whistleblowers from across the world. So today is another requested tune breakdown. This is a very popular session tune, which is played both in Scotland and in Ireland. It's called the Connaughtmans Rambles. It's a very well-known tune, very well-known jig. Often played at Cayleys. I've been to played at several Cayleys where this tune has come up. But it's a great tune. It's one of those enduring session tunes which are often, as I said, played at sessions. It's a great little tune called the Connaughtmans Rambles. So as usual, what I'll do is I will play through the basic tune, again just separating the notes which are the same using cuts. Then we'll dig a bit deeper and see what we can do in terms of ornamentation, and then maybe a little bit of variation as well. So here we go, Connaughtmans Rambles. So for today's tune breakdown, I'm using this Blackwood and silver whistle made by Fred Rose, who's over in Colne, I think, near on East Lancashire. Well, Colne is near Burnley, I think. I'm pretty sure it is. And he makes terrific whistles. I don't think he's hugely prolific in his whistle making, but the ones he does make are superb instruments and they just play beautifully. So this is a Fred Rose Blackwood whistle. So as usual with these tune breakdowns, I've set my click to 60 and we're counting in two groups of 3. So even though it's in 6/8, we count it in compound duple time, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'll just play it through again, just separating the notes which are the same by using cuts. So here we go. I'm going to start off at the double bar line where the repeat is. I'm not going to bother with that little anacrusis at the beginning. 2, 1, 2. Now, I made a couple of little changes. I missed off the little note, I think it was a G, at the end of the 4th line to get a breath. So I substituted that, which is fine to do. If you need to breathe, you need to breathe. And also on the bar from the last, instead of playing an A at the beginning, I played a G. So I went like this. And that's more as I would play it. What's written? Now, I normally play a G there instead of an A. So that's just a couple of little changes from the written note. But other than that, it's pretty much exactly the same as I've played it there. Okay, so let's have a look now and see what we can do in terms of adding just a few simple cuts. Other than the notes which we're separating, which are the same by cuts, we're going to add just a few more cuts just to emphasize certain notes. So let's start from the beginning, play it through really slowly. So I'm going to separate those two notes with cuts, those two A's. Then I like to cut the first note, the B, in the second bar. So the first two bars again. Let's have a look at bar 3 now. So again, just separating the notes which are the same using cuts. And then the last bar. So I'm cutting the B on that second group of 3. So let's do the last two bars on the first line. Last bar. So the whole of the first line. Let's do that again. So the second line, we can do the same kind of thing. So there, same cut. Cutting the B in the second bar on the second line. So I'm going to cut that high G on the third bar. So, and the F sharp. So let's try the first 3 bars on the second line. And then the last first time bar. So I'm cutting the B in that second group of 3. So let's play through the whole of the first part slowly with the cuts which I've added. And then I went to the second time bar, second time. So let's just do the last line and play the second time bar. Now if you want, if you need to breathe, you can miss out on that high G and take a breath there. So it's just a little passing note. If you need to breathe, I would drop that high G in the second time bar. So let's play through at 60 now, the whole of the A part. 1, 2, 1. So let's have a look at the B part now and see what we can add in terms of cuts. So we're going to go from the beginning of the third line, and we've got separation of the two B's and the two A's in the first bar of the third line. Yeah. Now the second bar. Now, I wouldn't put any cuts additionally in there. You can if you want, but to me it sounds fine as it is. So third bar, repeat of the first on the third line. And same thing on the fourth line. Now on the third bar of the fourth line, I'm going to cut that high G. And then I'm cutting the B in the last bar. So let's do those two lines, lines 3 and 4. And again, if you need to miss out that high G for a breath, then that's absolutely fine to do so. Okay, let's do the last two lines now. So more of a repeat of the cuts to separate. So where there's an A, I play a G in that second to last bar. So let's have a look at that last line again. So we've got cut the G, cut the F sharp, cut the B. So let's put the last two lines together now. Okay, and let's try it at 60. So this is the B part at 60. 1, 2, 1, 2. So now we've got the whole A and B part. Let's put the A and B part together at 60, just using the cuts which we've done. So again, we're going to play the first time bar, second time bar, and then play the B part. So here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, so now we've got our basic version. Let's add a few more ornaments. So we're going to add some short rolls and some long rolls. So here we go. First part, so the first line. So our first short roll will occur on the third bar of the second line. So we're going. So the short roll, cut, tap. Yeah. So if you do need to breathe after that F, then you maybe just cut it and then take a breath. If you don't, you can add that short roll there. So let's do that A part again. Yeah. And again, we repeat it. We can do the same thing, or we can just cut it and then take a breath after that long note. Just because you can add a short roll doesn't mean that you will need to do it every single time, and your breath will take priority over any ornament. You need to breathe. Again, use the rule, it's better to breathe after a longer note than a shorter note. And in some cases, you may have to drop a note in order to get a breath. Right, so let's have a look at the B part now, because the A part really doesn't have that much in the way of rolls. So the B part is pretty much as we've played it, except we do have some options to do some short rolls and maybe make slight changes to add a few long rolls. So the B part. Now, if you want, you can play that as a short roll and use the G, high G, as a breath. Or what you can do is you can extend that crotchet or quarter note E and dot it and make it into a long roll. So it will sound like this. Yeah, note, cut, tap. So, or if you need to take a breath, or you could just tap that E like this. Yep. Again, if you need to take a breath on that high G, you can drop it. See which works best for you. And again, if you're playing it at different speeds, if you're playing it slowly, you're going to need to breathe more. And if you play it quicker, you'll need to breathe in different places, but you will need to breathe slightly less. So let's have a look at the last line. So then you've got the same short roll. Now, if you want, again, like we did with the E, we can extend that to B and turn that into a long roll. So on the end of the fourth line, or if you want to take a breath, then breathe where the high G would be. Or again, you can just tap it. Right, last two lines. So we've got a long roll there, which we can do a repeat of what we did at the end of the third line. So let's do that line again. And then the last line, we've got two dotted crotches, so dotted quarter notes. And we're going to do a long roll on the B and a long roll on the A. So we're going to go. Note, cut, tap, note, cut, tap. You only want to practice those outside of the piece. Just practice the high B roll and the high A roll. And again, if you cut in the A, you can use this top finger or you can use this finger here, whichever you choose. There really is no difference. It's just a personal preference whether you cut the A with the B or the A with the C sharp. Both work perfectly fine. So let's go. So again, that short roll on the F. So let's do the whole of the B part now with the additions of those short and long rolls. So let's try the whole thing at 60 now. 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, so to finish off, we're going to do throw some variations in. Just little things you can do to change things up a bit. Just makes it a bit more interesting. So, again from the top. So those first two bars, I'm going to substitute the B, A, B in the second bar for a long roll on the B. So it sounds like this. So what's written? Substitute. Second two bars. I wouldn't do anything with those. So So same thing, you can do a short roll on, sorry, a long roll on the B in the second bar on the second line. So what I like to do on the third bar is a little variation. So I long roll the G. So I'm changing what's written. So long roll on the G, go to the E, then cut the F sharp, long roll on the G, E, F sharp, E. So it's a departure from the actual written notes there. So let's try the whole of the A part now with the variations which we've put in. And again, at the second time bar, you can put that long roll. And then take a breath. So the B part, now we can do lots here, but I'll keep it fairly basic. So instead of the F sharp, E, F sharp in the second bar on the third line, I'm playing a long roll. So again. Note, cut, tap, D, E, G. So bars 3 and 4 on the third line. So there I'm doing a long roll on the F sharp and a long roll on the E. So I'll play what's written first. Now what I'm going to do as a variation. So the whole of the third line. So fourth line, same variation we can do. So we're just repeating that variation that we did before. Long roll. So the long roll. Okay, so the last two lines. Sorry. Again, we can long roll that F sharp. Or you could play what's written. So I did a long roll on the F sharp, long roll on the E. Or so the last bit, we've got a long roll on the high B and a long roll on the high A. Yeah. Now what you can do, long roll on the where it says an A, I play it as a G. So long roll G, long roll F sharp. So that's the second to last bar. Or you could just long roll the G and do the same figure. So let's try that at 60. 2, 1, 2. So the great thing about this tune and many other tunes, they're open to adding variations pretty much throughout. There's lots of things that I add, which we haven't talked about yet. I mean, I do add some triple tonguing on those high notes. So instead of going just as a little variation, just changes things up a bit. So that's one thing you could try, the ta-ka-ta. Yeah, suggest doing it slowly first. Takes quite a bit of practice to get it clean, that triple tonguing, but as I said before, it's kind of a misnomer because you're not going da 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 da, you're going ta ka ta da ga da 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 da ga da. So your tongue has to be really relaxed and soft, otherwise the whistle will squeak and make an awful noise. So yeah, try things out, try some variations out yourself and see if you can come up with some of the variations yourself. As long as you're adhering to the pretty much the same form as the tune, it's fine to throw in variations. In fact, it's kind of very commonplace to do that. You don't really want to be playing the same thing time after time after time. Again, it gets a little bit pedestrian, should we say, a little bit boring. So yeah, have a go at throwing in some of your own variations. So I'm going to play my version of the Connaughtmans Rambles with some of my variations and see what you think. Here we go. So there you have it, the Connaughtmans Rambles. As usual, if you found this video helpful, it would be great if you could subscribe to the YouTube channel, the Whistleblowers YouTube channel. Yes, if you found it helpful and if you would like to leave any comments, that would be wonderful. Any questions, feel free to leave comments or ask me anything about these tunes. And it would also be lovely to hear some of your feedback about the tune breakdowns or some of the other videos on technique. It's all really useful stuff. So, as I said, this has been a request to do the Connaughtmans Rambles. I'm going to have lots more tune breakdowns, lots more information, lots more tutorials coming up shortly. So goodbye from me for now, and I hope to see you all again very soon. Bye for now.